Good morning guys and welcome back to Bareham Engines. So guys, the thumbnail and title today is regarding a comment we had actually on one of our last videos. So something a little bit different, so stay tuned for that. But first of all, we're going to head over to Isaac and see what he's up to this morning.
Hi guys, Isaac at Bareham Engines here. Today I'm going to be showing you a bit of crank balancing and possibly some painting later on. But yeah, we'll see what happens. So this is another MGB crank that I had to balance. I've pretty much finished it now. I probably have to take a little bit more out of the clutch cover and then we'll be there with that one. Set that to the left, open that up, and that's telling us it's about 15 out of balance and the angle is 26. And we find 26 on here, and then on the centre line I'll mark it so it's pretty close to where I've already had to put a couple of holes. This is an 8mm drill bit, but I expect I'll probably use a 6mm for this hole. So there we go, that's the new hole. What's happened there is I've actually taken a bit too much out because, as you can see, the angle has changed. So I've gone for the 4mm drill bit just to be on the safe side. This is probably giving you quite a good idea of what balancing a crank is actually like, because it's very backwards and forwards. Not done a lot really, it's come down a little bit. I'll probably put that hole through and then see where we are. So that hole's through now. Call it a day on that one. And the angle is also jumping around, which means you can't really find any problem. So now I'm just going to mark the clutch and flywheel at TDC, because obviously now they've been balanced, they need to be where they are now, otherwise it's not going to be balanced when it all goes back together. As you can see, got the marks on the clutch there. Job done. So strip the crank back down, and under here we've got the block. So I think I'm going to clean that up and then give it a coat of primer. And that is actually my old boss's 205 block, so shout out Kev. So now I've got the Jag 4.2 crank on the balancer. I've had a little go at it already, just took a little bit off there. This one's fairly out of whack, so it's going to take me a little while I think. So here I've got the Jag crank on the balancer with the flywheel on now that we faced yesterday. We had a slight issue with the drive. The old one broke because it wasn't actually quite the right thread pitch. So that broke, so we've had to make a new one. So yeah, Lee and John have been doing that. And now I'm ready to get that flywheel balanced. So as you can see, we've got that one pretty nice, straight down on the zero there. So that's that flywheel all done. Thanks for watching my little part there guys. Yeah, subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think of what I've done.
Let's see what Paul's up to over here on the V8. Oh mate, what you got there buddy?
I don't know.
Got a nice clean front cover. And the front cover holds the oil pump. Rocker cover, yeah, as you said yesterday.
You put that spacer plate on and it's absolutely fine. It's only when you bolt this cover on it, the pump seizes up.
Right, what, because these gears are a bit proud, are they?
Yeah, so I think we're going to try different gasket thicknesses.
Okay.
So, but you can see on...
How many, so what gasket thicknesses have you got?
Well, that's 11 thou, that's 5 thou.
Oh, okay. What, you try, oh, you're going to put them together?
Put them together, and then we're going to use a gasket, okay, with the gasket set on the outside.
So what Paul's on about is when these gears are in the housing here and you've got the new plate, which is what, about 5mm thick?
Yeah, 5-6
something like that. The gears have obviously got to be slightly below once the top cover's on, otherwise you've got no clearance and the gears won't turn. You can see them compared to the original, so it's a high volume pump. So what he's going to have to do is we've got different gasket thicknesses and that. Just try them until we get the right clearance, I suppose.
It'll work, but it's a bit of a faff having to get it to sort of work really. But obviously you've got to drill the holes in the casing and put the pins in, so it's like you have to.
It's a bit fiddly. He's got to all line up right.
You have to use these shims obviously around the gears.
Yeah.
To get the right clearance between the gear and the casing, otherwise it will just seize up. Or if you've got too much clearance, no oil pressure.
Yeah. So, interesting stuff.
We will conclude in a minute.
That's right. So as you can see, we've stripped the BMW here. This is a 435i, so it's an N55 B30 engine, and this is the one with the funny springs and cam setup. It's a right old triffid to strip, and even more so to put back together. So they do this, I think it's the Minis, the 4-cylinder BMW Minis. They've come with the same sort of spring setup as this. We have been involved with them 3 or 4 times before, and we've managed to do it without a special tool. We can sort of lever the spring arms out of the way to get it all apart, but this, I've managed to get it apart, but there's no way you get this together without the special tool. So I've ordered that'll be here tomorrow. So we've sort of just got it laid out at the moment. Isaac has solder blasted the cylinder head ports, and or he's about to, and at the moment, if we go over here, he's just refacing the valves. So we've got one valve that is burnt out for whatever reason, and I think so far there's one exhaust. Is it one exhaust, mate, that's a bit bent?
One exhaust bent. A few of them are a little bit weird.
A little bit weird. So I've said to him, just let me know what we need, and I'll order genuine ones. I'm not going to mess about with this. But it's odd because this hasn't had a cam belt break or anything, but it's got one burnt out exhaust, and I mean proper burnt out. But it's a little bit odd how the others are slightly not straight. One of them, that one that he showed me, where is it? So this one here he hasn't even faced, but if we spin the valve, you can see that it's been faced a bit oddly from the factory. So I don't know whether it was slightly like that originally. I can't think of any other reason why it would be like that. You see it's fat one side, thin the other. So that's a little bit weird, that. Right guys, so we have been going now for what? I think our channel's been monetized for sort of 8-9 months, something like that. So we have treated ourselves. Bit of a birthday present for us. Or you could think of it as we've treated you. So what we've done, we've been out and bought the new Rode Wireless 2 microphones. So I'm all a bit excited about this. So the reason we decided to buy these, because obviously I use my phone mainly for recording, which, I've got no qualms with the phone. The trouble is with me with a camera, a lot of the time I'm covered in grease and oil, and I just want to get the phone out and quickly record. And I wanted to keep it sort of a bit raw anyway, because it gives a more realistic effect as to what we actually do. But we're a bit limited now on the sound. Obviously, we do get complaints off you guys in the comments that we've got a bit of background noise and all the rest of it. And not only that, now we've started to sort of interview the lads and work with the lads at having a chat about the engines and whatever. It's ideal to have a couple of these. So we've got the two, these the receivers, whichever end these are. So we've got 2 of these. So the second half of this video, we're going to put it into use. And I really appreciate you guys putting down in the comments what you think about the difference, really. See if there's any difference in quality, whether you prefer it or not. But yeah, quite excited to give this a go. So the second half of this video, guys, we'll be using this. So yeah, see what you think. Right, guys. So we are doing another set of valve pockets for Mr. Dave Pritchard. And I just wanted to take this opportunity, really, to discuss our thumbnail and title for today. It's regarding a comment that we had on our last video, actually, which I don't usually do, and I probably won't make a habit of it. It's just that this one I thought we ought to just clear up, really, and make sure people are sort of aware before making assumptions as to exactly what goes on. So this particular comment was from a guy who said that he wasn't very happy with the fact that we test drove the Volkswagen Golf that we've got, that the customer hasn't picked up yet. Don't know whether that was because he said that I did say that I popped into my nan's to see her. So I'll just tell you the story there. I was basically test driving the Golf. It was the first time I put some fairly decent miles on it. It was a 20-mile round trip, so not that much. My nan lives sort of halfway between here and there, so about 10 mile away. So I just thought I'd pop in and see her while I was there quickly, see if she's all right, because she's 93 years old and she had a fall a couple of months ago. We are insured. Our insurance does cover us for outside work hours, test driving a vehicle or recovering a vehicle or delivering it. So that's absolutely fine. And obviously with the amount of extensive work we've done on this vehicle, the car needed to have some decent miles on it really, just to make sure everything's okay. So the customer, when he comes and picks it up, is coming from Tamworth area, something like that. So he's about 200 mile away. So by the time he gets down here and drives it back, it's a 200 mile journey to go back down the motorway. So we need to make sure that everything's okay. So yeah, he sort of commented on that, and the first thing he said is he's got a Subaru Impreza, and once upon a time a garage test drove that Subaru and put some miles on it, and by the sounds of it he took great pleasure in taking him to court. And also in his message he said that first thing he'd do is to take us to court if he found out that we'd been test driving his car. So yeah, I personally don't think that's very fair. If a garage has done some extensive work, then they need to make sure that the vehicle's okay before the customer gets it back. Now, I'm pretty sure that that same guy there is going to be fairly miffed if he gets 100 mile down the road of a 200 mile journey home and breaks down, and it's all because we haven't test drove it. So sometimes I think you just need to have a little think on before you message on the actual facts and whether, besides the legality of taking it on a test drive, whether it's what you should actually do and whether it's something that you would be happy to do. It just seems that we've inherited from maybe certain countries this taking to court and suing malarkey all too quick. Now I do want to thank our maybe more regular, our more loyal subscribers for sort of, they seem to, when I get a comment like that, they seem to sort of chip in and kick in for me and answer to these guys with their feelings on it. So I do thank you very much for that, guys. Saves me doing it, I suppose. But yeah, I just thought I'd have to add this one in a video because it's, as I say, some people in these comments do seem to be a little bit quick to dive in and slate us when quite clearly on some of them they haven't really watched most of the videos continually or properly. So for the gentleman who did send the message, if you're watching, we're all covered legally. As I say, there's quite a lot of work been involved in this. It's a new engine, new turbo, all the rest of it. So yeah, don't be so hasty to sort of suggest you take us to court. Just make sure on the facts first. Feel free to email us or ring us up before you comment and get some facts. We're more than willing to answer to you and tell you. As I say, there's no lying here. We always tell people what the truth is. So yeah, don't know what you guys think about that. I'm sure you'll put down in the comments below. But yeah, just thought I'd have to cover that one. So what we're doing here, guys, is this is an Alfa Romeo head for Bob Dove, and we have got to remove all the valve seat inserts. And the reason for that is because apparently the new valves which we got there are sitting too low and he cannot get the clearances out of the buckets. So what we're going to do is we're just going to fit new inserts in there, and we're just going to sit the valves higher so it's back to standard really, because obviously over time when you cut these seats, the more you cut them, the more the valves go back, then you just run out of clearance. So that's the reason for that.
But yes.
Right, so there we go. We've got the V8 here. You see Paul's put the... Did you put this inlet manifold on, Paul? Or?
Yeah, put the inlet manifold on. Strip the rocker shafts down. Blast them, clean them up, because it's like oil weigh holes. You want to make sure they're clean, so you know, brake cleaner, compressed air through there, make sure there's no sort of dirt and crap in there. Put them back together. They're actually quite simple going back together. They look a bit complicated, but when you do it a few times, it's actually not too bad. So,
Right, okay.
So they're both on. Engine turns over lovely.
So I did time it up right?
Yeah, timed up perfect.
Well, that's
timed
all right
up
then.
like a beaut.
So we're almost there then, really, just the front cover. Are we still waiting for a rope seal, or have we got one?
Got the rope seal there. Oil pump is back together now.
Okay.
So
So that's the oil pump now. You see the sandwich plate in there.
that's obviously the high flow pump we put in it.
Okay.
And we've got the spacing right on the gasket so it doesn't bind up, because it's binding up earlier.
Right, okay.
So we have to, there's sort of a few different gasket thicknesses.
Yeah.
One was 11 thou, one's 5 thou. We had to put 11 5 thou gaskets together. Otherwise the top of the oil pump gears were catching on this part.
Yeah.
So we've sorted that out and it spins nicely. And we've got a nice bit of backlash now, which you want.
This is just what you want, yeah.
So that's
It's not binding up.
nearly ready to go back together. So we're getting there.
Well done, mate. So just tricky job of fitting that rope seal now then, I suppose.
Yeah, and then I've got the rocker covers over there, which I'm going to paint in a second.
So this front cover here is, I think this is an early one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because they've got if you see in here, they've got a steel housing that fits a rope type seal, which can be a bit of a nightmare as opposed to a conventional modern seal.
Not ideal these,
Not ideal,
They're horrible
really.
when you put them in and turn an engine over. The engine feel like it's going to seize, but
Yeah, that's the trouble. It sort of makes the crank feel tight in there.
But
So
no, these are much nicer.
much nicer. I'm not sure whether they do a conversion kit for this, but I can't seem to find one. Well, that's it for today, guys. Have a great weekend, and we will see you in the next video. Cheers, guys.